What's up, family? What's up? Welcome back to the Emperor Atheist channel with your host, Emperor Atheist. The subject matter of this video is something that I think has to always be reiterated and should always be reiterated by atheists. But basically, what is atheism? What do atheists stand for, etc.? People always, you get online, even in certain debates, even with so-called religious scholars, who basically, I kind of tend to think the term religious and scholar is kind of like a dichotomy, or it's almost like a non sequitur. But anyway, these so-called religious scholars, they get on, and they always say they claim atheism is a belief just like theism, and it's not. So I'm going to clear it up in this video. Hopefully be for the last time, and I know it won't, but just hopefully it would, because I know these so-called religious quote unquote scholars, they're going to keep saying this dumb shit. But I'm going to just give it to you plain. Atheism, okay, comes from the Greek word. There would not be a such word as atheism. I want y'all to understand this. There would have never been a term atheism, which comes from the Greek, if there was ever a term called theism. If it wasn't for the term for theism, then there would have never been atheism. Atheism is just saying one who's against theism. That's it. Atheism is the lack of belief or rejection of any type of belief or hypothesis of any deity. That's all atheism is. Now I want to make this point clear, and I'm going to speak, hopefully I'm going to speak slow enough so the religiotards or whoever else can understand this. Atheism is not a belief system. You don't have to believe to be an atheist. Atheism is the rejection of a belief system, which is called theism. And I'm going to try to make a simple comparison. Basketball is a sport. Football is a sport. All right? Not playing football or not playing basketball is not a sport. It's simply you're not playing football or basketball. Okay? Sex is a condition, right? Right? But not having sex is not a sexual position or condition. It's just you're not having sex. Being a theist is a belief in some deity, some pink god or blue god or whatever you believe in, a spaghetti god or somebody who lives on the rings of Saturn. That's a belief in some type of deity. Atheism is the rejection of those type of beliefs. That's it. It's not a belief. Now, hopefully I have cleared this up, and maybe I haven't. Maybe it's still going to be hard for a lot of you to digest, a lot of you theists. Okay, but I don't understand what else I could say. Once again, atheism is the rejection of theism. And I want to say something here too on this point. A lot of people also get this misconstrued because of religiotar scholars to say that atheism is of the viewpoint that there is no God, or that atheism is of the viewpoint that we know for a fact that there is no God. And hopefully I'm going to have to clear this up. I won't have to say this another 100 times. Atheism, in and of itself, and of its original meaning, does not make any claims on God that it exists or does not exist. Once again, atheism rejects the idea of a God or deity existing. After the basic dispute or ideas of Democritus and Lucretius, it was really clear that atheism was the stance for atheism was clear, that it was that we have no reason to accept any deity. Not that there was no deity. No one can say for a fact that there is no so-called uncaused cause, as the Kalam cosmological argument says, or unmovable mover. But we have no reason to accept that it is. And even if it is some type of uncaused cause, or some type of deity that created all of this from the Big Bang, before singularity, before whatever is accepted through what we can prove through science, even if we do come to the conclusion that there is a deity, then maybe the deists may be right. And what the deists believe, not the theists, but the deists, Deist. What the deists believe is that there probably was this uncalled cause who they call God, but he has nothing to do with humans. He has nothing to do with miracles. He doesn't do things like this. In other words, this God has nothing to do with the affairs of humans whatsoever. He just created the universe, or started the creation of the universe, and that was it. And most atheists, most intelligent atheists, would be inclined to accept a deist point of view, but a theist point of view is ridiculous. Abraham religion and the scholars will contradict themselves with these arguments, whether it's the cosmological argument, whether it's the moral argument for God, whether it's the theological or fine-tuned argument. All of these arguments are basic bullshit. And for you to claim that this God escapes time and space, yet he's within time and space to turn water into wine, or to make Jesus come up out the grave, miracles, bullshit miracles, or to have donkeys to talk, or to talk through burning bushes, it's contradiction in nature. It's contradictory in reason and logic. It makes no damn sense. It's absurd. It's very absurd for you to say that this God can't be understood by humans, but yet you religious people understand them well. You explain them. You think that the Bible is it, or the Quran is it, and it makes no sense. So the atheist point of view is simple: the rejection of these weak hypotheses about any deity, not just the God of Abraham, but any deity. The Hindu gods, any deity. We have no reason to accept it. We do not say we know for a fact that there is no God. We can't say that, because in actuality, your God is what we call unfalsifiable. It's like me saying that there are green cats that live in Andromeda galaxy that floats around. If I tell you that, you can't disprove me. It's simple. Why? Because green cats living in Andromeda galaxy is unfalsifiable. You can't prove it. You can't disprove it. Just like we can't disprove your imaginary God. You can make up anything, or you can make this claim that just simply cannot be falsified. And God is one of those things. It's a belief that ancient man made years ago to try to figure out nature, and it's unfalsifiable. It's simple as that. Science can't disprove God, and science definitely can't prove it, and it's really not trying to, because it can't, because it's supernatural bullshit. But for the most part, as far as science goes, and as far as reason and logic goes, God is nowhere on our radar. He's not on the radar of science. He's not on the radar of logic and reason. Scholars try to make God on the radar of logic and reason, but it fails. It fails bad. And like I said, I've made videos on these particular philosophical arguments for the existence of God, and I'm going to continue. Matter of fact, my next video I'm making is going to be on the ontological argument, and the next one will be on the fine-tuning. The ontological argument, which was basically created by Amsel of Canterbury, this priest during the 11th century. Basically, it's bullshit. It says that the greatest idea that man can come up with, the best idea of God, or thinking of God, you can't imagine anything greater than God. But the idea in itself is bullshit, and I'm going to go into the whole argument, the whole basis of the argument, and the way William Lane Craig and people like him of today has actually tried to use the ontological argument. And then I'm going to go and make a video on the fine-tuning argument. Matter of fact, I might do all that bullshit in one video, because it's not worth really making separate videos on those dumbass arguments. So that's probably what I'll do. I'll do one video debunking the ontological argument for the existence of God, and debunking this fine-tuning bullshit, which is called the teleological argument for the existence of God. Which the teleological argument says that if one constant would be slightly different, then the universe wouldn't have existed. And that's true, but that doesn't mean that there couldn't be life. That doesn't mean that carbon-based life, or that life has to be carbon-based. It also doesn't mean that, as we know, life itself can exist in another galaxy in a different way. So the proof is like garbage. The evidence is not there. It's just an argument. And like I said before, an old argument, any argument in and of itself is just an argument. And all these arguments are basically arguments of logic and reason, which fail to even extract any logical reason from them. But they're not arguments for empirical evidence. That's the thing that we got to understand. And that's the thing we got to stick to. I always told y'all in other videos, make the people bring the evidence. You know, damn the argument. Because any argument in and of itself is nothing but a hypothesis. But once again, I just felt like I had to make the statement of atheism because I keep hearing the wrong misrepresentation of atheism, even from atheists and agnostics. I keep hearing the wrong representation of atheism, and from, like I say, even from atheists who obviously don't know what the hell they're talking about. Atheism, once again, I'm going to say this before I end this video, it's not the stance of we know for a fact there is no God. That is not the stance for atheism. As I said before, I think Lucretius and Democritus made the greatest stance on atheism and what it stood for. And that atheism is basically the rejection of theism, period. And that atheism stands in light of that there is no reason to accept the hypothesis of theism. Because theism is not a fact. It's a hypothesis, a weak hypothesis. So this is the stance of atheism, that we have no reason to accept the hypothesis of theistic belief. It's simple as that. And it's the rejection of theistic belief. Simple as that. Thanks for liking my videos. Thanks for watching my videos. I'm Emperor Atheist. I'm out.